So one of the things that really defines me is the show Power. People are like, oh my God, you love Power so much. I do recaps every Sunday on Black Sports Online. You know, Power is one of these shows that has this pull for me. And it really started with Ghost and his ascension to being the biggest drug dealer in New York City. And then this huge wrench that gets thrown into his life. He runs into his first love, his true love, Angela, who happens to be a federal prosecutor. And if you're a drug dealer and your true love is a federal prosecutor, that's somewhat problematic for what your life's going to be going forward. And I love it because of the tension that those two have in terms of their jobs, but also the love that they have to balance. And it's a volatile love. It's visceral, man. Like their emotions like tug and pull, and it causes them to do things they probably shouldn't do. They make bad choices, really bad choices. Choices that end up getting people killed, end up getting them potentially thrown in jail. But I'm always fascinated by that because it's sort of like the human condition, right? It's sort of, we always think about, okay, I'm gonna make this decision, but you never know what the repercussions are going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 moves down the line. In the moment, with the information you have right there, it sounds like a great idea. Okay, cool. 3 years from now, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then it's always about trying to correct that decision or then do something else to mitigate the collateral damage that happened. But that's just sort of what life is. And that's what I think I like about the show so much, is that there are a lot of like unrealistic parts of it, but at its core, that tension between Ghost and Angela and their decisions, and then having to reconcile and come to reckoning for those decisions, is what I really love about the show. Jarod Hector. I am a journalist with Black Sports Online, BET Digital, MSG Networks. I have my own podcast, the 7 Footers Podcast, where we talk about all things NBA. When did I fall in love with sports? It had to be around 1984. So I was about 6, and I fell in love with the New York Mets. Dwight Gooden, man. That was his rookie season, and I believe in that game he struck out 15 or 16 guys. I was like, who is this tall, skinny dude? Got a little bit of an activator Jerry curl thing kind of going on, throwing heat. I like him, and I want to do that. Clearly, I'm not good at baseball or that athletic, so I couldn't do it. So I decided, you know what? Let me rock with sports in a different way. And so I've just been in love with it ever since, man. Anything I can get into. Football, basketball, baseball, as I mentioned, college sports, do it all. Tennis, golf, anything. Anything that I find that's competitive, that involves equipment, I'm down. And it's been great, man. It's been a hell of a ride. I kind of went the long way to get to become a sports broadcaster and a sports journalist, but I'm here now and I couldn't be doing anything better. So there's been a lot of talk lately about digging up people's, especially famous people, athletes, etc., tweets from their past when they were children. And we're in New York City, so you hear all the noise in the background. You know, it depends on who's bringing up the tweets and why they're digging into these people's past. If you are a fan of a team and your team's getting beat by some guy or some gal or whatever, and you're looking up the tweet because you're angry, come on, man. That's not, you don't actually care what they're saying. You're just pissed off your team lost and you want to find some way of getting vengeance. But if you actually are digging into people's past because you say, hey, these people are not who they say they are, or you're saying, we need to shed light on this, then by all means, look into it and say, hey, this is what this person said back then. Ask them now. Is that how you feel now? And so our fellow reporters, that like myself, should do. If we're ever out in these situations and we have a situation where we meet someone, or we meet an athlete or whomever, and there's an opportunity for us to ask about what they said in the past, we go there and we say, hey, this is what you said when you were 17, 18 years old. Do you still hold those thoughts? If they say they changed, our next question is, how did you change? What are you doing differently? How do you feel differently than you did back when you were 17? So I'm fortunate that I get to cover both sports and entertainment. And to be honest, they're actually mixed. It's two of the same thing. You know, sports is a form of entertainment, right? Entertainment is what it is. Every NBA player, every football player wishes he was a musician or a rapper, and every rapper wishes he was a baller, right? That's sort of how that goes. So I love the sort of merging of both of those things together. I think what these players do off the field is just as important as what they do on the field. These guys have so many interests that vary beyond the sport they play. They're multifaceted, just like the entertainers that we watch. And ultimately, that's what sports is. It is something to entertain us. I think oftentimes where we get in trouble is we look for it to be more than what it is, like this bastion of morality or this sort of way in which we should live our life. It is a microcosm of the larger society in which it inhabits. And it is part of entertainment, and that's just what sports is, a piece of entertainment. A lot of times we often hear people say, stick to sports. What does that even mean? Look, as I said before, sports is a microcosm of the society in which it inhabits. There is no such thing as sticking to sports. You know, we have a tradition, and among black athletes, it's called The Heritage, great book by Howard Bryant, you should check out, by the way. And it talks about how that's never an option for black players. When you talk about integration, when you talk about the coaching ranks, the GM ranks, and moving up in your career post-playing, there really is no opportunity for black players to stick to sports because that's just not really a reality for them. You know, in a country that was built on racism and all other types of ills, this is sort of where we are right now, and the two are merged. And whatever we see in the larger society is what we see in sport. It is no different. So it is incumbent, actually, on all black athletes to do something with their platform. Some can, and some do it in different ways, like LeBron James and players like that who can really do something big, and others do it in smaller ways. But everyone, I think, has that heritage. Some take it up, others don't. So LeBron James is one of these athletes we always talk about for a variety of different reasons. What I think doesn't get enough coverage and needs to is what he has done to empower other black people around him. You look at his LMRM crew, Rich, Randy, Mav, all those guys. These are people who went to college, got advanced degrees, who now work and run the LeBron James Inc. business. They have him and a bunch of other athletes that work for them. And it was a plan from the beginning. When LeBron came into the league, this is what he wanted to do. Because again, in this industry, what you see is so many of the strings are being pulled by non-black people. And if the sport is being dominated by mostly black people, wouldn't it be nice to also see black people in the ranks of GMs, ownership, coaching, agents, anything that has to do with business? Because this is a league that is predominantly run by black people, so they should have black people in positions of power as well.